There were more angry murmurs in the crowd. People start to shout and bang tin cups against the ground. I hang my head low, as if my dad's name was written in glowing letters on my back. I can't look at Polly or the mouse, but it doesn't matter. I'm only just aware of where we are, because right now I'm somewhere else entirely, in my head 6 years ago. I'm working on a new... Dad had said, his voice trailing away as usual, not turning round from his computer, even though it was midnight, and he hadn't eaten anything that evening. Correction, we hadn't eaten anything that evening. This could be really big. He dug his keyboard out from under the messy pile of papers on his desk, and brightly coloured shapes floated across the screen, bubbles and twisting spirals and spiky blobs. Yes, Kez, this could change everything. This would really have made your mum... Click, went the computer. Ma pauses, letting the words sink in, and strides round to the other side of the fire. She looks over the crowd, blazing more fiercely than the fire itself. She pounds her fist into her other hand. They said we were finished. They left us to starve, but now we shall take revenge. Suddenly, it's like Ma is looking dead at us, and we both freeze. But then her gaze moves on. Because, friends, a little miracle happened out on the plains today. A round of applause. What if I was to tell you that I stumbled upon the son of Professor James himself? There was a big cheer. I ducked down even lower behind the crowd. Ma stops pacing and slows right down. Everyone goes deathly quiet. This is what she's been building up to all along. Fact told us the animals are dead. They told us all the animals are dead. But they lied. She nods, agreeing with herself, because, lo and behold, here is the son of the man responsible, in person, with a whole troop of living, breathing animals. A huge cheer goes up, and the bearded man with the flute plays a little scale on it that goes up and down. Ma lowers her hands, as if to say, enough. The muttering fades away. So now, she says, the flames burning bright in her eyes, we shall take back what is ours. What is our due after waiting and starving so long, all these long, lean years? We shall feast. The crowd began to chant, very quietly at first. She's talking about food, but I have a very bad feeling in my stomach. I couldn't feel less hungry right now. Feast! Feast! We look around. Everyone is chanting, every man, woman and child. It begins to get louder and louder and louder. Feast! 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 Louder and louder the cries go, as all the eyes turn back towards the tall barns of the farm. Feast! 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 The whole crowd are on their feet, shouting, stamping, chanting. There is a convoy of men making their way towards us from the barns. Can't see properly at first. They're carrying something, pulling something. Ma looking on, gesturing them to hurry up. And then all the chants and drums fade to nothing in my mind, like they're happening on a different planet, as I see what the men are pulling. A crazed animal rearing and bucking. Polly sees too. Oh, Kester, she said. It's the stag. He's wrapped in ropes, ropes around his horns, ropes around his muzzle, ropes around his neck, legs and body. And he's bucking and rearing and kicking and bellowing. The ropes are held just by a fat man and a spotty skinhead who struggle to hold on as the stag lashes out, his eyes rolling. The crowd are going crazy now, surging and dancing around the stag, baiting him with shouts and cries. The last stag ever in the whole world. Then the chanting and music grind to a halt. There is silence apart from the crackling fire and the stag straining at his ropes. Every now and then the fat man calls out, "Hi-ya!" and cracks a whip, which makes the stag rear and buck all the more. I can see he's covered in cuts and scratches. Don't do anything. Not yet, whispers Polly. But I don't have a choice, because I am lifted clean off the ground by an enormous arm around my waist. Bodger. With a grunt, he pushes his way towards the fire, trampling junk and weeds, the crowd melting out of his way. It might be night, but I feel like I have a bright searchlight shining right on me. I beat my fist against Bodger's side, and might as well be hitting a concrete wall for all the difference it makes. He dumps me on the hard ground, right at Ma's feet, and there's a burst of applause, as if he's just done a trick. Ma fusses my hair, and I jerk away. No need to be unfriendly, Kester, she says. Enjoyed the show so far, have you? Did you think it wasn't for your benefit? Do you think we would let you escape so easily? She grunts like Bodger. Well, you haven't seen nothing yet. The star turn is still to come. Then, everyone watching with bated breath, she reaches into her belt and pulls out the massive knife. You, she says, You're our star turn. A knife which she hands to me. It's heavy and solid, pulling my arm down with the weight. I don't want to. I can't. Go on, she says, pointing at the stag, rearing and bucking. This is all your father's fault. And in the country, this is how we make amends. You get first cut. My eyes widen and focus at the same time, taking in everyone and everything. The fire, shooting up to the stars, burning and hissing. Ma, her hand on my shoulder, gripping it tight. The faces of hundreds of hungry outsiders, nodding, urging me on, laughing, clapping, like this is a game. Polly's pale face right at the back of them, looking at me deadly seriously, as if she knows that what I do next will stay with us forever, that everything, all of it, rests on me. And finally, the stag himself, his muscles straining, a sheen of sweat all down his side. The fat man pulls hard on the rope wound tight around his horns, and the stag bellows in pain. Hold still, you wretched beast, damn you! Fat man yells. What do I do? I ask the stag, barely getting the words out, trembling with fear. His head jerks back and forth like a puppet on a string, and I actually hear the horns flex and crack under the pressure. But his reply to me is as steady as the flames in the fire. Is it true, what I heard her say? I don't know how to answer, and he screams again in pain as his head is yanked back by Fat Man. Ma puts her hand over my hand holding the knife and squeezes it so tight that I gasp in pain. She whispers in my ear. We'll hold him, don't be frightened. As if. Of the stag? Never. Aim for a clean cut across the throat, that's the proper way. She steps back, waiting, gesturing me to cut whenever I'm ready. We shall all dine well tonight, thanks to you. Dine like we haven't dined for years. How could I be so wrong? The stag was right. We can't trust any other humans. How can you ever trust someone who wants to eat you? The girls at the front start on the drums again. The crowd begin to stamp their feet, banging cups, impatient now. Fist! Feast! Feast! Cut! Cut! I know these people are only hungry. They haven't eaten properly for months. We're all hungry. I look again at the stag, his rolling brown eyes, his heart beating visibly under his chest, his great crown of horns, and try to answer his question. I don't know. Then there is only one way to find out. Do what you must, he says, gritting his teeth. A great stag always faces his fate. Just save the wild. I look down at the knife in my shaking hand, and again at the stag. In his eyes there is only encouragement, nothing else. My brain is racing, thinking of everything he has taught me, but this time we're surrounded. There are no varmints here to come out of the ground, or fish road to save us. And as if it can sense my thoughts, as if it was wired into my head rather than strapped round my wrist, my watch buzzes angrily. I don't want to take my eyes off Ma or the stag, but I glance quickly down at the flashing pale square. One word. Don't. Then it's gone as quickly as it came, the screen black as before. There's no time to think. Come on, boy, don't be shy, says Ma, giving me a shove. Don't pretend you aren't hungry too. Don't. Don't. No, I won't. I fling down the knife, which bounces and shines on the ground, resting at Ma's feet. There's a gasp from the crowd. Ma isn't having that, though. She picks up the knife, takes my arm and squeezes my hand round the handle, lifting it up so the knife, its point glittering, is poised just above a plump vein running across the stag's throat, pumping faster and faster. Make it quick, says the stag, for I am ready. But I can't, I say. I don't want to kill you. I don't want you to go. I made a promise, is all he says. Ma puts her hand over mine again, and the blade. There, lad, I'll guide you. I close my eyes. When the voice comes, it is loud and strong. Stop! It's Polly.